Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Ordinance Committee on 119 at 7:01 and call members of present. Committee member Councilman Bukabat. Here. Councilman Goodell. Here. Councilman Janik. Here. Councilman Van Turen. Here. Councilman Wilson. Here. Councilman Winarski. Here. And the chair is present. Our president is present as well, and all administration is in attendance. Agenda A15-02, an ordinance to approve current replacement pages to the Amherst Codified Ordinance and declaring an emergency. As you have received a nice thick package of 2014 replacement pages. Just a reminder, these are all pages that have been approved, all changes have been approved by council in 2014, as well as those that will bring Amherst Codified Ordinance up to date with the ORC. Mr. Goodell?
I move to take item A1502 to the floor of council with the emergency clause.
Mr. Janik?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to take A-1502 to the floor of council with emergency. Second by Councilman Janik. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. And A-15-02 has passed on to floor of council. Councilman Bukabat.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Councilman Goodell.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor of adjourn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. We'll adjourn at 7:04.
Did you know we have an ordinance against putting laxatives in food that might seriously inconvenience?
5 p.m. on the 19th of January. We'll note that attendance was taken in the previous meeting. We have 3 items. The first item is A-1503, authorization to bid and award the purchase of water meters not to exceed $100,000 and declaring an emergency. Mr. Mayor, do you wish to comment on this?
Yes, this is part of our ongoing program to get all the meters in the city radio read, and we do it $100,000 at a time. That buys us, based on last year's bid, about 500 meters, and that we have about a 2 or 3 year more, we get the whole city complete. We have thought many times about borrowing the money and going ahead, but we didn't think that borrowing at this time was a good idea 2 years ago, because why pay the interest when we don't have any serious problems? And this is going to just help us upgrade the system. So we're recommending that you authorize us to buy these meters again this year. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Bukabat.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, we talked about this in depth the last few years as well, regarding the proposed length of usefulness of these meters before they potentially may go bad. And I think spacing them out over a number of years, as we had talked, if we do a lump sum purchase, we're obviously going to have potential lump sum purchase in the future for replacements again. So I have a problem with that. One of the questions I did have, though, was for the 3 accounts. I don't remember these numerical accounts. Maybe the other
Yes, they are. One is out of the Planning Commission account, out of the water section. That's a 230 account. The 420 account is the water improvement account, where we have water funds. And then the 600 account is the operating account, the capital outlay account.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I will, I'm not crazy about the emergency, of course.
The reason I'm asking for that is they're 2 to 3 months out on delivery, and I do not want to run out. So I want to make sure, we always have to have some on stock, some go wrong. We have some issues, people have leaks, that type of thing, so I didn't want to run out. So that's why I'm asking for the emergency, so we can get some in, because they're not all going to come in at once anyway.
Which leads into one question, maybe this is best for the auditor. When the law is enacted, when the agenda is passed and the ordinance is passed into law, that's the date of effect will take effect upon that budget, that year's budget, correct? So if we actually started this process back in December or so, we could still would affect the 2015 budget, not the 2014.
No, this is 2015 budget interim.
Understood. I was asking about the process, if we started this process earlier, with the passage, it would affect the 2015 budget. Great. Thank you very much.
Mr. Miller?
I have a question, but I'm willing to take this to the floor of council.
Okay, so you're making the motion?
Please.
Are you reserving your right to comment first?
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Van Truen, and Mr. Miller, back to, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mary Taylor, just a real quick question on the water meters, and we may have discussed this in the last time. This is the emergency I'm okay with because we have been doing this in phases, and I think we've all agreed that this is a good way to handle it. Are we auditing the systems when we put those meters in to check for accurate water consumption? If there's somebody that's tapping in, or, I mean, do we check that at each time we install them? Is there also?
No, we know the new meter will automatically register the usage very aggressively and very properly. The only time we check the meters, when we take the meter out, we test it to make sure it's not running slow or it's leaking or something like that. But an audit, I wouldn't necessarily call it an audit, I would just call it the change of the meter from the standard old meter to the new radio read meter.
So we increase efficiency and accuracy of our reads, which
Yes, this is what
going to
this
benefit the
does.
city as well.
Yes.
Very good, thank you for answering the questions. That'll be all, Madam Chair.
Motion and a second to take this A1503 to the floor of council with the emergency. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. A1503 carries 7-0 and will be taken to the floor of council with the emergency. The second item I have is A1504, authorization to bid and award the tree trimming maintenance program. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, you see my attachment with regard to the explanation. This is part of our tree trimming program that we've been doing for at least 11, 12 years I've been here. And it really helps us in reducing our outages, and it helps makes it safer for the employees in the electric department. So we're requesting authorization to bid this out again, and as we did last year. Thank you.
Mr. Lubeck.
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, last year I asked the same question as the previous year. When we budgeted 80,000 again last year, it's the same number. I recognize. Did we utilize all $80,000 last year? We did.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we may have gone at 78, 79, something
Okay.
close to that, but we hit these late 70s on this. I wouldn't say it's exactly 80,000, but it's closer.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to take this item to the floor of council.
Mr. Goodell.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to take A1504 to the floor of council. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mayor, maybe Safety Service Director can answer this as well. The winner of this bid for last year was
Nelson tree trimming.
Nelson Tree Trimming, and they're fairly local. So, wondering how much under that bid. I know we have a large number of tree trimming companies in the area.
We only had 2 bids.
2 bids,
I think it was the lowest bid we had last year, too.
As well.
To design.
well, I appreciate you guys keeping the local companies in the forefront of your mind when picking the lowest and best bid. That'll be it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none? Voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. A 1504, it passes 7-0 and will be taken to the floor of council. The final item that I have on the agenda is A 1505, which is authorization to bid and award the purchase of gasoline, diesel fuel, oil, and other petroleum products. Mr. Mayor.
This is what we asked for last year. We bid out our gasoline, and the thing with gasoline is basically the only price. It depends on the quote, depending on delivery. So the gas numbers stay about the same, but it's cost of delivery. Last year, Great Lakes won the bid. For the last 2 years, I think they had the bid. So our contract is up in the spring, so we're asking authority to bid and award again.
Mr. Goodell.
I move to take item A 1505 to the floor of council.
Mr. Miller.
Second with comment.
Okay.
I just, once again, will reiterate, please consider the local companies. We have some companies that are actually, their owners live in the city. So please consider local as well, on this bid as well. Much appreciated, thank you. That'll be it, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I believe we were bidding, correct me if I'm wrong, on a quarterly basis last year? No, it goes first of the year?
It's a yearly basis.
And the prices
Not the
fluctuate
first
throughout
of
the
the year,
year?
but what happens is,
Beginning of
I think we
contract.
do this in May.
Beginning
We
of
submit
contract.
it now, so we'll be ready in May, and then I don't need the emergency clause, gives us time to get it all done.
Right.
So that's why we bid the last two with no emergency clause. The contract's out up till the springtime, but we're getting a jump on it, so we're ready to bid it once the contract is up.
If I remember correctly, there was it fluctuates, the bidding during the year. We pay for the gas as it's, you do the guarantee of the delivery. With the gas prices being so incredibly low and fuel being so incredibly low right now, is there any way we can actually go into an agreement with somebody on larger quantities to stabilize that price for in case it goes up?
I don't know that, but we'll try and find out.
I wouldn't expect it, but
I doubt it,
yeah, I wouldn't think so.
but it's worth asking.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Miller.
This was Safety Service Director. My understanding when I was looking into this issue, in particular our fuel consumption and bidding process, that it would almost be cheaper, be a little bit more work on our end, and maybe even your departments, but it would actually be more cost effective to bid it and set up bids on maybe like a monthly basis and not buying it all and committing to a price, because if the price drops or goes up, we can have opportunity to do that.
There's something like that, but you could get screwed the same way, you know, it could go up. But you're mainly bidding the delivery costs, and there's a state index, so OPEC, you know, that controls the actual fuel cost. I'm looking at other things too, but it'll probably
You got some
happen just
ideas?
the way it
Okay.
happened.
Well, I appreciate you.
Last year.
I appreciate you taking the time to look into that issue as well. Thank you. That'll be it. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, call for a voice vote. All those in favor of taking A 1505 to the floor of council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item is carried 7-0. That is all I have. Mr. Bukovac.
I'll move to adjourn, please.
Mr. Goodell.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. We are adjourned at 7:17 p.m. Thank you.
Our town, our TV. Amherst City Cable.